Hi, and welcome to this episode of What is a Ceramic Metal Halide Lamp and What It Isn't. First off, ceramic metal halide lamp technology has been around for quite a while now. It's just in the past 5 years made its way from the commercial world all the way down to the consumer world. From 400 watt down to 25 watt from Philips and 20 watt from GE. Ceramic metal halide lamp technology is actually a combination of HPS lamps and metal halide lamp technology in one. It's not a conversion bulb in the typical sense of what a conversion bulb is, that it has either an HPS arc tube or a metal halide arc tube that is designed for the opposite ballast. Rather, it is both lamp technologies built into one lamp, so it doesn't really require the conversion parts and whatnot, and just how they fill it and the overall construction of the lamp that's going to designate it. This lamp is a CDM 400 horizontal, CDM 400 S51 horizontal from Philips. It's the HPS Retro White. It will either run in the HPS ballast or a metal halide pulse start ballast. This is a CDM 330 All Start, which actually will run in a metal halide probe start ballast or a metal halide pulse start ballast. Eventually, they're all going to be in one. So let's actually go into what is a HPS lamp and what is a metal halide lamp, and then we can go back to the ceramic and the benefits of it. HPS is a high pressure sodium lamp. It's actually not high pressure, it's actually a low pressure. It's just higher than the low pressure sodium lamps that are out there, the monochromatic lamps. Those actually have a tremendous life on them, but they are completely different than these, and you don't see them very often. The HPS has a 85% to 95% lumen maintenance at half-life. What is lumen maintenance? Well, that means at half the life, it's going to be outputting that amount of energy. So at half-life, it's going to be outputting 85 to 95%, and some HPSs even output 98% lumen maintenance. Metal halide probe start has a lumen maintenance of 65%, and a pulse start, if you buy the higher end versions, have a lumen maintenance of 85%. Each one has their advantages and disadvantages even after that. HPS lasts longer, metal halide doesn't last as long. In a consumer setting, i.e. Where you retail or a gas station, you don't really want to be there with yellow drabby light, and you don't want to buy anything under yellow drabby light. And that's where metal halide comes in. The downside to it is it has a higher relamp cost because it doesn't last as long as HPS, so you have to go up and relamp it longer. So if you don't need the white light in the setting, you just don't opt for this. You opt for the HPS, and that's changing with ceramics. You're actually going to be able to go back to white. HPS is used in parking garages and on streets, and the reason for that is in security around buildings. The reason for that is it lasts for a long time. It has a high lumen maintenance, and you don't really need to see color when you're driving down the road. At nighttime, to be honest, who cares what color the car is, in front of you unless it hits you. Same in a parking garage. You don't really need to see color all that well, as long as you can see and don't trip over yourself. So HPS, has that advantage over metal halide, and metal halide has the white effect. Let's go back to, let's actually discuss what is inside of a metal halide lamp. It is actually a quartz arc tube with crimped ends, and they fill through the nipple there. They fill it with mercury, a little bit of metal halides, and whatever other chemicals they want to fill it with to achieve the color output that they want. And within that, if they fill it up to get a full spectrum-ish output, life actually goes down dramatically, and that's due to the quartz arc tube and a few other things. The HPS arc tube is an aluminum ceramic arc tube with cermet glue to hold the electrode in, and it's got caps that actually go in and plunge in. Ceramic doesn't, when you get ceramic hot, it doesn't molten until it's at a certain degree, and that's really, really hot. So it's easier for them to just make the tube, make the caps, build it in a pressure chamber, and go. Metal halide is easier to manufacture in that sense that they just melt glass at the ends and add the gases and salts. ceramic metal halide lamp technology is the HPS arc tube filled with metal halide gases and salts. As you can see, it's got the caps and the ceramic glue to hold the electrode in place, and it has no parts to make it a conversion bulb. And you can actually see it. Let it focus. You can actually see the line where it actually is a plug style, and it goes in there. I do apologize for the video. I'm trying to get this up quick. You can see the ring around it right there, so you can actually see it's a tight fit, and there's actually a ceramic glue around that just to cover the rattle. And we've been asked this, so we actually found a lamp. In the manufacturing process, you can get little bits of black glass in here. This is actually okay. This is actually found in metal halide lamps, HPS, and ceramic. It's just Philips doesn't make their ceramic metal halide lamps for consumer applications, so they're not pretty, and you can get that glass in there, and it can cause it to rattle around. You can hear the difference between the metal that's rattling at this nipple versus the glass that's rattling in here. That does not affect life. It does not affect anything. If you get a lamp like that, you can obviously send it back and get it warrantied out, or you can just run it, and you'll be just fine. And we actually recommend just running it. And as you can tell, it's actually the glass from here when they're molting this down in here. If you've ever played with plastic or anything else, or wax, when it gets hot, it drips around. So that's how that gets in there, and it's just basically really flimsy at that drip point. So as soon as it gets a knock, it breaks off and rattles around in there. On the HPS Retro White, it uses a cylindrical arc tube. On the CDM All Start, it uses the football arc tube, I guess, which actually has its seal in the middle, and there's no other seals anywhere around it. On the HPS Retro White, it's got two seals, a cap here and a cap here, so it actually has more junction points. You have 3 junction points, just include that, versus here where you only have 1 junction point. And the reason why that comes into play is, as much as this arc tube style it's not better than this arc tube style, it's just different. The ceramic glue, if the cap's not in there 100% right, and this is why we pre-burn, if it's not in there right, the glue can actually get corroded away and let out, all the gases, and that is one of the reasons why you have to have a protected lamp. The All-Start actually has the protection in a quartz arc tube, a quartz cylinder around the arc tube, and that holds the arc tube in place if it decides to rupture. Ceramic metal halide lamp is actually an HPS lamp, a metal halide lamp built into one lamp. The benefit of that is it gives you the 85% lumen maintenance that you get from the HPS. It gives you a full spectrum, which is actually a combination of the predominantly blue spikiness of the metal halide, along with the red and yellow and other colors of HPS, and when you combine it, you actually get a full spectrum. It's kind of really neat how you do it. Not only when you get that full spectrum with the ceramic metal halide, you're able to achieve the higher lumen maintenance. The more of a full spectrum you get out of a metal halide lamp, the shorter the life is, and the shorter the lumen maintenance. Example, the iHortolux metal halide 400 blue, I believe has a life of 12,000 hours versus the HPS Retro White, which is 20,000 hours. This has an 85% lumen maintenance, and the iHortolux blue, this is not it. Similar to this, with a little bit obviously different outer bulb jacket, but the arc tube looks the same. It's got full spectrum, predominantly blue, because that's what the standard metal halides give you, but it only gives you a 12,000 hour life at 65% lumen maintenance, and the bulb is about double as this bulb. So you get high lumen maintenance, full spectrum, and a protected bulb, i.e. if the arc tube ruptures, you're okay. In regards to lumens per watt with the ceramic metal halide compared to HPS or metal halide, it's really hard to actually compare the lumen versus lumen. To give you a great example, when you turn on a 400 watt HPS and put a 400 watt ceramic metal halide side by side, the ceramic metal halide will actually appear brighter to you than the HPS will. And the reason why is lumens are rated everything from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer, from 0 to basically infinity to a point. The human eye can see basically 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer with a peak at 500-ish nanometer, which is green spectrum, which is why night vision is green. It's actually the light that we can actually see the least amount of, but actually be able to see it. Whereas in like the red spectrum or blue spectrum, the further away you go from green, it's our eyesight diminishes. So with HPS, it's putting out most of its energy in the yellow spectrum and a little bit in the red, but primarily in yellow. Well, it actually it peaks more than what we can actually perceive with our eyes. With ceramic metal halide, none of those peaks in its spectrum peak out more than what our eyes can actually see. And then when our brain and our eyes combined all those nanometer ranges all together, it just appears brighter. I'm not sure exactly the science behind it, the mentality, the mental whatnot that goes into it, but whenever I look at it, or anyone else has looked at a ceramic metal halide versus HPS, or even versus some metal halides, the ceramic metal halide just appears brighter, and that goes even to the coral reef, the fish, and horticulture. For the plants, everything just sees it more. So we see it with our eyes. The plants and fish and coral take that up as more usable energy. So you can actually use less power and get same results without getting into too much debate there. So in closing, a ceramic metal halide lamp is actually a metal halide lamp and an HPS lamp in one. So you get the blue spectrum, the yellow and red spectrum, the long life in one lamp. Do watch our next video on protected lamps and why you want them. Thanks for joining us.